Flux in retaliation with the Bastion ult. Also, if they can get rid of this Orisa, heals were cut off. It looks like it's going back and forth, however, with all the trades. No clear winner has been decided yet. There's really no way to tell. I feel like this next pick is going to be massive for both teams.
The overtime, it's still trickling here. It does look like Frozen Pupcicles trying to keep themselves alive in this fight, but you have Cat still alive on the Sigma. Without taking out this tank, I don't know how you can flip it.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely tough, and the team just gets pushed off a little bit too long. Frozen Pupcicles, they had an incredible start. It looked really dominant, but the second Freakiest Racoons took over that objective, it was their show the rest of the rounds. They had great poke, they got great picks, their ult economy was, I mean, pretty fantastic. That's a great way to bounce back and start off this season.
This is also, I'm really impressed with the flexibility being shown here from Freakiest Racoons, and that is something that Zat had mentioned in the Captain Showcase, is this is a team that has a lot of heroes in their pool, so being able to kind of pivot over, Overwatch has always been a game of counter swap, so love to see Freakiest Racoons kind of finding that swap and immediately getting the value here. So we are going to be heading over to Sanctum for point number 2. No compositional changes on the Freakiest Racoons. Looks like Frozen Pupcicles sticking to their guns as well. Gonna see if they can find the value that they need from this Bastion composition and a little bit more of an enclosed sub point.
Oh, absolutely, and it looks like we have a cough drop immediately getting rid of Destiny at the beginning of the fight, and with a second one, I mean, this is a kind of a repeat of that last round, a really dominant first fight from Pupcicles, early takeover of the objective. But let's see, will it go the same way? Freakiest Racoons did show us, once they got that one fight win, stuff was in their court the rest of the round.
It's a good point, right? We'll have to see if Frozen Pupcicles can build up some more percentage here on the point. I think that's the beauty of having this Orisa versus the Sigma matchup, is if you move faster, you can basically just walk over the Sigma. So Freakiest Racoons really need to try and find this poke damage, try to find an opening pick before the Orisa is able to walk on the Sigma and take all that space.
Yeah, and an amazing catch out here as both of the DPS of Pupcicles goes down at the exact same time. A really good 3-2 split just to manage to catch them off their guard, as it looks like that one fight was pretty easy for them. No one really died at all, took over the objective. If Freakiest Racoons can get the jump, they do have that slightly better poke and that slightly better off-angle power, and it looks like they are not going to let the tank of Pupcicles get out for free, but it looks like they went a little too far.
Ooh, yeah, that's the aggression being punished there. Cough drop taking out Sir Technical. That means that you don't have your Lucio that's going to be able to speed you out of this engagement. Freakiest Racoons actually might be forced to kind of commit an ultimate here just to hold on to the point.
Yeah, and they're going really hard. This advantage, they're just continuing the entire time, and Otter's amazing boop getting can't catch Zat right off the field as Pangalex cleans up wheel. And while this had been a really good fight for Racoons, they pushed a little too far, and Pupcicles, they fought back and took over that point without really needing to invest anything but some aggression in the nano.
Yeah, fantastic punish from Frozen Pupcicles to get this point back in their control. Terra Surge, you have both DPS ults ready to go as well. This Terra Surge can combo very nicely with that strike from the Bastion, and losing Destiny late here, Freakiest Racoons have to see it a little bit more percentage here, trying to break through this hard choke point. When Ugly Fat Chud has picked that shield perk, oh, you're gonna have such a hard time trying to break through this front line.
Absolutely, and that's why this rush is going to be a great tool to do it. Although the combo with the Terra Surge and the Bastion artillery farm just manages to rip through all of Racoons, and that was just a really easy, good fight for them, as it looks like even Destiny, an inch away from that spawn room, will be joining their team in the respawn simulator.
Hear the team kill come through. We see the emote in celebration. One more fight potentially here for Frozen Pupcicles to tie this map up. But Freakiest Racoons are coming back into this with all of the tools to work with, save for that Kitsune rush, and Destiny's gonna start things off for them.
Absolutely. Resources exchanged already. Destiny goes in with that, but gets shut down without any picks, and it looks like the kills are all going the way of Pupcicles. Beat comes out in return from Otters as 2 come down. Yes, they do get rid of Cough Drop, but I feel like it's a little bit too late. They're pushed back into the corner, no ult to see. They're not even going to be able to touch the point with that body block, and an incredible turnaround from Pupcicles, making that second round look pretty clean. Maybe a little surprised they let go of that first round.
Right? Yeah, definitely looking much stronger on Sanctum compared to Shrine. Definitely do think that the architecture of the map has a little bit to do with that. Of course, once you're in control of Sanctum, you're able to push up to a really, really hard choke point, and having all of this spam damage from the Bastion and the Orisa, just a little bit too much for Freakiest Racoons to deal with, especially on this Sigma comp. You're not built to kind of withstand a lot of spam. This is all about finding the early poke value, and Freakiest Racoons, when they were able to catch out members of Frozen Pupcicles that were kind of off on an angle, that's when they were able to break into the point. But you're just not going to be able to win that front-to-front battle here. So as we head to Village, no swaps to be seen. I'm really looking for Freakiest Racoons to take more advantage of the space that is available on Village, because if they get backed into a corner like they did on Sanctum, that's where this Orisa composition is really going to shine.
Absolutely. As long as Racoons can keep this space shut out, keep good pressure on that front line, and really just watch out for Cough Drop on that angle that they always seem to be on. I mean, we see what happens right there. We get the trades. Both Lucios go down. This should probably go the way of Racoons. And again, the picks, they're just going completely even. Lucio for Lucio, hit scan for hit scan. I don't know which side's really going to come out on top here. I feel like it's all going to come down to if Zach goes down. But it looks like they managed to barely keep him up. Fight still at a standstill. And it looks like this is still just going to go the way maybe of Racoons. I don't know, the picks are too even as the points finally being touched.
Racoons at least do have percentage building, so the longer they can drag this fight out, the better it's going to be for them. But finally, the flip does come through for Frozen Pupcicles. Once this Orisa is set up on the point, so hard to dislodge her with this composition that Racoons is running. 20% is all that the Racoons are going to get, as we are going to actually have a swap over onto the Mauga here, indicating that Freakiest Racoons looking to take more of this front-to-back fight here. So what they're going to have to really do is wait out these cooldowns from the Orisa, and that's when you go in.
Absolutely. It's an interesting strategy, and it looks like it hasn't paid off, at least in this first fight. I do think if you can't beat them in the poke war, it's probably a good idea to try to just brawl them out, especially if you can get past that Orisa. The rest of the comp should probably just fall apart. There's not much protection for this Ana, but man, I am not envious of Zat on Mauga trying to push through this much poke. Orisa barrier and Bastion turret. I mean, yeah. I would not love to go through that if that was me personally.
No, right? As soon as you charge through it, there's a shield, and yeah, actually, Zat is going to get caught out there. More percentage here for Frozen Popsicles. They're going to go ahead and commit this artillery strike. Yeah, you're going to pick up 2 for that, just extending this percentage that you have here. And all right, we'll have to see if Freakiest Racoons off to change anything. Looks like it is still going to be this Mauga coming out. Little visor here from Kafka. Maybe a little zoning ult, mayhaps?
A little zoning ult, just making sure they stay in their spawn room for sure. I'm curious how Racoons play this fight. They're probably going to swing aggressive and look for their Curie rush. Yep, just breaking out through that front. Terra Surge in response, a great bell there from their Curie, being able to bring it down. We do finally have the tank of Pupcicles dropping down, and it looks like Racoons, they're finally going to be able to break through here. They just needed that one pick. That Curie Rush allowed them to swing out, break into that space, and take that close point fight that they had to if they were going to beat through the poke of Pupcicles.
Yep, I love the call, right? Open it up with Kitsune Rush. Don't use anything else. Use the extra damage from that rush to build up to this tectonic shock that Wheel has. And Frozen Popsicle's looking to take this high ground here. Ideally, that is where you'd want to play with this composition. You have the Soldier, you have the Bastion, but you're walking into a whole lot of spam damage. You're probably going to have to just be forced to rotate around, and that is exactly what we're going to see here. You find that opening pick on Cough Drop. That might be enough to break into this point if you're Frozen Popsicles.
Yeah, it might be, but Pupcicles, I don't think they're going to be able to push at all. I imagine maybe Cough Drop a little bit too fast for the rest of his team, caught out by that Venture and Lucia side angle combo, but for some reason it looks like they are maybe going to commit into it, looking for that first hit. Going out, but Wheel immediately drops. I think Technical was thinking about dropping the ult, but didn't think they needed to, but now we see it. Rush coming down. We see the beat, we see the cage. A lot of ults in response also from Pupcicles. And it looks like as the dust begins to settle, it's pretty even, but Pupcicles, they actually seem to be on the back foot as we had 3 picks going out after Zat dropped. And I can't believe it, But it looks like Racoons have actually managed to pull this fight back around in what looked like a guaranteed loss.
Oh my god, you lose your Malgar early, your tank out of the fight. That's so much HP gone. Now it's going to be up to Frozen Popsicles to try and trigger the overtime, but no, nobody is going to be able to get a foot on the point. A lot of back and forth here, but it is going to be Freakiest Racoons that pick up Nepal.
That was an extremely back and forth game there. It looked like so many times Pupcicles just had that lead. They staged great at the beginning. They always won that first fight. They did really good. And then just always kind of right when it mattered, Racoons would just win the fight they needed to. They'd take that point control, and then they just sweep out from there. Even in the chaos of those fights, they just managed to always barely come out on top. Even when it looked like they had lost the fight, they had lost that at the beginning, they came back. They had the great picks, they caught the side angle, and even when their Malgo went down, they turned it around from some great focus fire and great playmaking, even throughout all the chaos when the ults were coming out.
Right, that is some true team synergy there, to be able to lose your tank, your main kind of presence in a fight, but the trust is there, the focus fire is there, you clean it up, and you set yourself at that 1-0 here. Now, good fight though from Frozen Popsicles. I think that this Orisa Bastion combo, it's pretty fun. You definitely have to find kind of the opening to make it work, but good news is for them is that they are going to be in control of where we go for the next map, so they're really going to be able to tailor it to the style of gameplay that they want to go with.
Yeah, based on what we saw in that first map, they're probably going to want to take things still pretty pokey. The Bastion is a mainstay for this team, as well as that Baptiste. A little bit of a back foot their start, as the Baptiste immediately got banned out. So probably heading into Hybrid now, maybe we're going to see an Eichenwald or a Midtown. I think that would make the most sense with the style they want to play.
Yeah, Bastion on Midtown, very, very scary, especially, like you mentioned, that Baptiste is going to be back into the mix now. Freakiest Racoons are not going to be able to ban out that hero again, so having the Baptiste to pair with that Bastion, pair with the Orisa as well. I mean, Orisa already has so much staying power in a fight, but you throw in a Baptiste that can put out so much burst healing, and you have the Immortality Field as your get-out-of-jail-free card. Definitely, this momentum shift could be coming in really strong for this next map, where not only do Frozen Popsicles get to pick the map, but they also get to pick that first ban and be in control of maybe a protect ban.
Absolutely, Rain. I think they've probably got two questions on their mind, and that's which role do we want to protect? Not only does your ban guarantee a character out from the opponent's side, but it also means that the enemy team can't ban from that same role. And so if you're going, let's say, to this Midtown, I mean, do you ban a DPS to protect your Bastion? Or do you think the Orisa is going to be a little more important and you ban out a tank? These are the kind of questions that you also have to ask yourself, as it looks like we are going to that Midtown that we were talking about.
All right, good shout. Greetings, knew where we were going. And I mean, you were totally right? This is going to be a very, very good map for this composition that Frozen Popsicles is looking to play. We're assuming they're probably going to stick on this Bastion. They're probably going to stick on this Orisa. So going into Midtown, lots of kind of longer sight lines, especially on that first, second point, and a lot of really hard choke points. We saw that Frozen Popsicles was doing the best in Nepal when they were able to get themselves set up on those choke points. You had that shield perk from the Orisa, and Freakiest Racoons were only really kind of being able to break through that when somebody from Frozen Popsicles just kind of stepped out of line a little bit, right? We're seeing the mistakes being punished from Freakiest Racoons, but if Frozen Popsicles can really just kind of lock it in and focus here on Midtown, I think that this is definitely a big opportunity for them to tie this series up.
Absolutely. This is probably their best choice, especially playing their composition. It looks like they decided to play defense first, and we're going to get a Sigma ban. I like this. I think Sigma, probably one of Racoon's best options going into this to counteract. Sigma has the barrier, has his hands. He's very easily able to mitigate a lot of damage output going in here. And I think that was a good ban. It does leave your Bastion exposed. I imagine we'll probably see that in retaliation from Racoons on their side of the field. But yeah, there it comes through immediately. That's the Bastion ban. I feel like this is probably your best chance to do it. It's a strong map. They didn't protect ban it. This might be your only chance to cleanly get rid of it when it would work best for the enemy team.
Yeah, you're totally right. The Sigma ban, not only is it protecting that Orisa, but also, yeah, the Sigma is really good for countering out this Bastion, right? From that shield, from the kinetic grass, you're able to cycle through those. You can deny a lot of value. So good read from Freakiest Racoons to recognize what Frozen Pupcicles are probably going to roll into Midtown with. So this does beg the question, right? Are we going to end up back on the Mauga composition for Freakiest Racoons, or are they going to show us something a little bit different that we maybe haven't seen so far out of them?
Well, I think we're just out of the first map. We're brand new into this 2026 season. We probably haven't seen much of any of the stuff in all of these teams' back pockets. So I'm really curious to see what we are going to go out of both of these sides. And it looks like maybe we're back to the Zarya. I know we saw a little bit of that on that first round. I think there's a lot of potential, especially with Vendetta also back in the playing field. Baptiste wasn't the only character gone from that map 1. So maybe Pupcicles, this is the real thing that they're bringing forward. I'm very curious to see what everything is going to go on by into this Midtown match.
Me too. This is really cool. I love when we see the heroes that were banned out in map 1 make an appearance in map 2. That's how you know you have had some impactful bans, right? Immediately we're seeing this Baptiste on the field for Freakiest Racoons. Potentially. Okay, Frozen Puppies or Pupcicles were thinking about maybe the Vendetta, but it is going to be Destiny swapping over onto the Sojourn instead. You still have Wheel over on this Reaper though, so you still have that kind of rush composition factor for Frozen Pupcicles on their attack. It is going to be the double hit scan here for Freakiest Raccoon. So Pangalex moving over onto the Cassidy in place of that Bastion.
Yep, it looks like we're going immediately in with a Reaper TP, just going to take over into this Firehouse side. It's a pretty good rotation here that we can see Raccoons are doing. I'm having to remind myself because I think the players are on the opposite teams right now. So I'm having to remind myself of that.
You are right. It is Freakiest Raccoons that are on the attack here. Good call, as it is going to be an opening pick onto Cough Drop here. So taking that Soldier out of the mix, it's opening the doors here for Freakiest Raccoons.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Great pick. That is the benefit of this comp from Raccoons here, being able to bubble in your Reaper, take care of that side angle, and Technical opening up the fight with 1 kill and finishing it off, getting rid of thinking on the bat. I'm very curious why we came out here on the double hit scan from Pupcicles. I feel like you would definitely want to have something maybe with a little more front staying power, as Destiny getting rid of Sev on the Soldier super early here, and Pupcicles, they need to find a time to just group back up and give themselves a second, because if they keep losing players this early, they're never going to actually have a fight. And luckily, Pangalex getting the pick that might turn that around and gets another, as both DPS from Raccoons have been taken down.
Okay, a little bit of a stabilization here on the defense, and you are going to have Pangalex looking for a little bit more, so that is going to force Freakiest Raccoons to back up a little bit, show some respect here. Frozen Pupcicles are going to be able to get themselves set up, and looks like Ugly Fat Chud actually wants to hold quite close here. He's going to have that Terra Surge ready to go very shortly. Not a huge kind of combo potential. You do have that Deadeye and the Amplification Matrix, but right now you're probably looking to just kind of use the ult as is.
Oh yeah, amazing spear off the bat from Chud going in. It doesn't manage to finish off Destiny, as we can see Wheel taking out Otters right at the beginning. And it looks like Sev just managed to, almost managed to get rid of Sir Technical there on the side. It gets taken out right at the end by Destiny, and it looks like Raccoons, they're managing to continue their aggression, pushing them off, going aggressive. Even though the fight has been won, they decide to throw in the grab at the end, clean it up, make it a little bit cleaner right there, and it looks like they're now flipping the script. Pupcicles, they were the one holding the doors a little earlier, and now Raccoons, they said that looks like a pretty good idea, and now they're doing the exact same thing to them.
Oh, and they have a Death Blossom to help keep this door closed. We can see the Wheel is just lurking for it, but yeah, Frozen Pupcicles are aware of what the plan is here.
Absolutely, and you can see they're committing a lot of resources. Beat going in, team going aggressive. We've seen a lot of ults to try and retaliate. Otters trying to swing out just to get that touch. Terra Surge managing to take down Zat right there. I don't know if Raccoons are wanting to commit anymore, especially as we can see their whole team is being dismantled just 0.06 meters right before the cap. Amazing job from Pupcicles being able to turn that around, especially when they committed so much to the beginning of that fight.
Yeah, that was really looking like Freakiest Raccoons were going to cap that second point. Excellent Terra Surge from Ugly Fat Chud to take out Zat, that really high charge Zarya. Not only you take out the tank, all that HP, but that is so much damage potential as well. Now, Freakiest Raccoons still have this Death Blossom in their pocket, and now you have this Kitsune Rush to go along with it. Frozen Pupcicles need to use one of these DPS ults because otherwise they're going to get walked on.
Yeah, and they did get walked on, and while it looked like Wheel might have gotten some picks, it was actually them who ended up getting picked first. However, Destiny pops the OC, takes out 1, takes out 2, takes out 3, takes out 4. Can they get all 5? Unfortunately, Zat finishes it off with a quick melee. But Racoons, even though they lost Wheel right at the beginning, they turned it around. They relied on Destiny so far, who's been doing fantastic on the Sojourn, and they just clean up that fight.
Yeah, really, really great Sojourn play there. Wheel, you create the space, and sometimes that's all you can really hope for, especially if you have another DPS to kind of back you up, find those kills. So excellent job, Freakiest Raccoons, rolling into third point. 3.5 minutes to go here. Frozen Pupcicles do still have this ult advantage. They're just looking for the perfect opportunity.
Ooh, absolutely. We can now see Thinking coming out with the Baptiste, clears out all of Racoons from it, but the window maybe a little bit too far back. No one from Racoons really got pressured out by that as we can see Wheel immediately back in, and 2 picks come out from the side of Pupcicles. And Racoons, they're being forced to just leave quickly. I mean, they didn't commit anything. Pupcicles, they did have to use the window to get that space back, but you needed something to stabilize. If you would just let Racoons keep the game at their pace, you would continue to just be bowled over. And so this is a really good reset going into this fight.
Yeah, Freakiest Raccoons have the Lucio. They want to move quickly. They want to rush composition. Otters is over on the Zenyatta now, so maybe gonna throw a little bit of something into the mix here, but that grab from Zat, blocking everybody up.
Yeah, speaking of throwing stuff in, that grab was thrown in, but unfortunately got speared back right as it came out, and the rest of Racoons, I imagine they definitely wanted to try to win the fight off of such an important ultimate like that Graviton Surge, but it just seems like they were pushed out a little too early, as it looks like they're also trying to get Wheel out of their side angle here.
Aware that the Reaper is lurking, doesn't necessarily want to take that fight if you're on the Soldier, but going back for a little more, not quite gonna find it. Both support ults ready to go here for Freakiest Raccoons, and they want to get aggressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Amazing response with the Transcendence by Otters. Thinking almost went down, but Chud, they're too far forward. The Trans Otters doesn't want to be that far up while the ult's about to end, and now they're just going to be completely run over here, as it looks like most of Pupcicles, they're being taken down as Racoons finally going to get on the point. Probably could have been a little bit closer, but Destiny now has that OC, and here it comes out. Both hit scan ultimates at the same time, but the window backing it up. No one has lost anyone yet, but Zat, so one in the corner, eventually finally gets taken down. Pupcicles, the HP bars are starting to get low, but I don't think they have any more of that power to break through, and so Racoons will fall, as Pupcicles did a really good job stabilizing out, able to keep that Orisa on the point, a little bit more of that sustain than the Zarya can provide, and now Racoons are down to 1 minute left to cap third.
Yeah, not a lot of time to work with here. One more clean fight and then maybe a scrappy one. And the longer these fights kind of go on, the more value that Otters is finding on this Zenyatta. That Discord Orb is doing so much damage to Freakiest Raccoons. And now you have the Terra Surge and you have a Deadeye ready to go here. Wheel, a lot of pressure on this Reaper to find a big Death Blossom.
And it's not easy at all. As you said, Otters are doing so much on the Zen, pairing that up with Pangalex. It's going to be next to impossible, I would say, for Wheel to get a really good Blossom. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to even potentially pull it off. And it looks like they're not! You see Sev going around aggressive on the corner. 30 seconds left on the clock as the rest of Racoons are being taken down. And that was just really good pressure output. Pupcicles knew that that Blossom was going to be the main power that Racoons had in this fight. And so a little bit of damage output, pressure at the Wraith, and then push them in. An amazing job from Sev getting that pick off onto the Blossom before it could do anything.
And Frozen Pupcicle hold on to this Deadeye. A fantastic zoning. Oh, you love to have it in this overtime fight because now Freakiest Raccoons need to get a foot on the point and they need to stay there until the end.
Yeah, it looks like one side going out for each. Chud making sure to take down to Noon to cover the point. Oh, people are being taken down as Destiny falls to the high Noon. And it looks like unless there's some sort of miracle, the rest of Racoons will falter. just a little bit off of that beat and a little bit off of that grab. You would have loved to have maybe 10, 20 more seconds to build those both up for this fight.
Oh yeah, right. That's the unfortunate part here for Freakiest Racoons is, you know, they kind of rolled through first and second point. Honestly, a little bit of a hang up on second, but third point where Frozen Pupcicles get these really long sight lines. You have the swap over onto the Zenyatta to pair nicely with this double hit scan comp, which, although a little bit unconventional, really finding the value when Freakiest Racoons don't have as many options for pathing, because when you're running this kind of rush composition, you really want to be going from kind of corner to corner, but when you're taking all that poke damage, it's just too hard to sustain through a fight here. So it's a good push, but I really would have loved to finish out the map.
Absolutely. From just a second ago when we were able to see all those stats up, you could really tell kind of where the main pressure points for both teams were. While on Pupcicle's side, it was a pretty even spread across like Pangalex and Chud being the main points of damage output and kills. On Racoon's side, you could tell most of that pressure power came out from Destiny with those big overclocks and first picks. They did a really good job of giving their team everything they kind of needed to push forward. And so it was very interesting to see how these teams kind of broke through. You could tell Wheel and Zat were really just doing what they could to pressure out those resources so Destiny could just clean up those fights.
All right, let's see if they can do it again. Get the Sojourn set up on the defense here. You are going to have Wheel over on this Venture as well. A lot of pressure for the choke point. And Sir Technical actually moving over onto Iari as well. Midtown, fantastic Iari map. Lots of great places for the pylons and lots of potential for damage. And, well, also a lot of potential for damage in the Pharah, which is making an appearance on the attack here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Both Zen and Alari getting a pretty big buff, and another character who got altered here, Venture. Wheel looks like they're going to be able to get that first pick onto Sev. Zat dropping low, so Bell is forced. Both sides having stuff exchanged out, and it looks like, but as long as Zat can be kept up, which it looks like they will be able to. Oh, but Destiny also getting the pick onto Otters here. This is not going good for Pupcicles at the beginning, as it looks like they're just going to be pressured down, and Chud shortly to follow. Rest of the team pushed out. Pangalex, however, takes out two. Pangalex gets dropped here. Oh, they're fumbling right now, but it looks like they managed to get out. So I'm very curious to see, will Racoons be able to stabilize this and get back, or have Pupcicles put enough pressure onto them that there's no way they'll be able to regroup to recontest?
Yeah, we see that it looks like Frozen Pupcicles trying to push in here. You really want to find yourself away from that choke point. So as soon as Freakiest Racoons are down a couple players, that's when you're just flooding into the point and finding that kill onto Zat. Definitely making it a little bit easier to at least get your foot on the point.
And feet on the point, we clearly do have Orisa all four hooves directly on top of it. Racoons, a little bit of a stall. They're probably just trying to buy as much time as possible for that to come out, especially with that Kitsune rush. You can see Pupcicles, they're close to a lot of ults, and Otter's just 1% off as Chud goes down. Trans just can't come out fast enough. And now the trades, they're finally coming through. Zuberg dropping as well. Technical 1 HP, barely managing to hold on, but as Wheel drops Pupcicles, they're fighting back. Tooth and nail, they're trying as much as they can to get out, but Sev, another pick window now dropped from Thinking, but I think it was probably not needed as the fight has basically been cleaned up. We got a couple stragglers that Pangalex isn't really wanting to push too hard into right now, and it looks like we're getting the Sunstrike coming out, a little preemptive maybe, but they did get their feet back onto the point. Ultimate's coming out, and wow, this was an absolute fest of ultimates and trades and chaos, but Pupcicles are coming out on top at the end of it all.
Yeah, it's really hard for Freakiest Racoons to come back into that first point. You know, once a couple of ticks have gone the way of the attacking team, your spawn's just a little bit too far away. The reinforcements didn't arrive, and that is going to be the first point capped up here. Freakiest Racoons are going to move that over on to the Zarya here. Both those DPS ultimates to work with here. I'm really looking at Destiny with this overclock. A lot of pressure on the Sojourn to hit the shots, especially when you have a lot of DPS ults on the side of Frozen Pupcicles.
Yeah, I'm starting it out with the DPS ult themselves, looking in for the Tectonic Shock as both Chud and Super dropped early. Sev also managed to take out Technical. Everyone seems to be going down as the ultimates are flying out, and Pupcicles, with just one person left alive, it looks like it's going to be a battle against Sev and Zat to see who can claim victory, but at the end of the day, that is a Zarya at pretty high charge with a bubble, and I do not think Sev could have broken through that.
No, it was a really valiant attempt there, but yeah, Freakiest Racoons are going to be regrouping here, getting themselves set back up on the high ground as the reinforcements have arrived. Frozen Pupcicles going to be able to get a little bit more progress on the point here. A lot committed there, but you're still holding on to this Terra Surge. Great ultimate to have when Freakiest Racoons just dumped everything that they had into that last fight.
Absolutely. And Pupcicles also coming up on both support ults here. It seems that as chaotic as the fights have been, Racoons, even if the fights they are winning them, they're committing so many additional resources, and that's why they have to go first. As you can see here, Wheel going super aggressive. Zat managing to finish off Otters as Wheel goes down. The 1-for-1 trades, and Chud so low, but it looks like Sev again taking out both DPS, and Pupcicles, they're managing to barely win these out, as even with their health bars dropping so low in these fights.
Yeah, it feels like they're just clawing these wins through little by little. Now, those support ultimates that you mentioned online, ready to go here for Frozen Pupcicles, and you get your support set up on this high ground. If you're Freakiest Racoons, yeah, you're forced to walk into a window now.
Absolutely, Rain. You can see here, as the window came out, Racoons, they decide to push this side using that Kitsune Rush like they have in every single one of these fights, putting the pressure on Pupcicles, but it looks like Zat, a little too big for their britches, managed to go a little bit too far forward, and as they take themselves out, Destiny, the rest of the team, they just came out of nowhere. They spawned in their backline. The whole squad literally just pulled up to kill them to make sure that Destiny could not in any way turn that fight around.
Frozen Pupcicles very aware of the power behind the Sojourn for the side of Freakiest Raccoon, so you gotta shut that Sojourn down before you really have a chance to kind of find the railguns, get the overclock ready to go. Is now another really healthy time bank here as we move into third point, but we've seen what can happen to this, and Freakiest Raccoons have so many tools in their kit to work with.
Yeah, an absolutely incredible Helix, the fadeaway as Sev was exiting the fight, immediately popping the visor, maybe a little bit too aggressive as an incredible grab comes out, also committing the beat, and I'm very surprised that Zat is the first thing to fall in technical too. Yes, they committed so hard into that with such big ultimates, but maybe the team was just too far away. It doesn't look like there was anything they could have done, and just, I mean, we're just on the point emoting as Wheel falls to the shots of Pangalex. If you're Racoons, I don't know, I kind of want a refund on those ultimates.
Oh my gosh, for real, what a great lamp from Thinking to keep the team alive. Now, here's that overclock that we've really been hyping up, but unfortunately, Destiny just doesn't have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, and they did such a good job pressuring them out. You saw every resource was committed to pushing them out, and it looks like the Tectonic Shock, great for getting rid of Otters, but Pangalex responds in turn with their own, getting rid of Wheel themselves. You can see Zuber dancing around Zat, taking out Sev as they themselves get dropped, and it looks like for as good as Racoons has done throughout this map, they've had some good fights, they've committed a lot of resources, they took a lot of those wins, but it looks like Pupcicles will be the one to clean out this map, bringing our series to a 1-1.
Wow, all tied up here, and what a great response here of Frozen Pupcicles. I think that really they did a much better job in this map and going first. You kind of mentioned it, right? You're looking to go first in these fights. When they were on the double hit scan, they really needed to, but once you had this Pharah make an appearance here, Freakiest Raccoons just didn't really react the way they necessarily needed to, putting a lot of stock in the fact that Destiny was hitting some really great shots, but unfortunately, up against a Pharah, sometimes you need just a little bit more, so really great showing as Frozen Pupcicles picking that one up.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really, really good stuff, as you pointed out, Rain, from Pupcicles, managing to even out the series at that 1-1. We can see here that if we take a quick look at the stats that went out through that map, we just had so much pressure output coming out from this Pupcicles roster. I mean, a lot of that was centralized around Pangalex and the damage that they brought. But as that map went on, we could see a lot more come out from Sev on the angle on the Soldier, always managing to get that pick, always managing to pressure at that resource, giving his team that front line pressure, really just doing their best to shut down Wheel, who had been such a nightmare from them, just always on that venture looking to pressure them out and get that surprise pick when the team needed to go fast.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and the supports also from the side of Frozen Popsicles. Yeah, okay, you know, we get to hype up the DPS a lot, but 27 assists apiece between Otters and Thinking each. So that's how you're really seeing kind of this value come through. I really love to see the Zenyatta. You mentioned it, Greetings. Zen got a pretty nice little buff, so getting kind of big value from that Discord Orb, and then you're also able to just pump out the damage yourself. So looking good on Midtown, but Freakiest Racoons in control of the map, and they are taking us as far away from Midtown as we could maybe get. Saravasa for map number 3.
Oh yeah, this was as I was told, frame 1 decision from Freakiest Racoons. They said, we are going over to Saravasa, we're opening the map up, we are not liking Sev on these angles, get rid of Soldier. And that's really smart. Saravasa, it's an open map. Flashpoint is a mode based around bunch of different points. There's a lot of rotations. And what character excels better at traversing the map and being annoying on that side angle with that consistent pressure? But of course, Soldier 76.
Yeah, it's a really good call, right? Sev was doing so much work just on these linear maps, so if you're going to a wide open map, yeah, you are taking that Soldier 76 out of the mix now. Frozen Popsicles, okay, gonna respond with a tank ban, taking the Zarya out. We definitely get to see a good amount of Zarya making an appearance from Zat. A lot of really high charge kills coming through, so if you don't want to be worried about a high charge Zarya, well, you can just ban her right out, and this is going to shape the composition that Freakiest Racoons are running really heavily, because you've been running that Zarya with the Venture, with the Reaper, really investing in the rush composition. So I'm interested to see how they're going to pivot now that that tank's not in the mix.
Absolutely. And I think another reason why that was such an incredible ban is we still haven't seen Vendetta. We have seen they've wanted to play it, but Midtown, you know, it's just really hard with those sight lines, especially into that hard of a poke. In map 1, when you wanted to play them on Nepal, it was banned out. And so Saravasa, you have a great mixture of space, a great mixture of distance between where the fights are actually taking place. But unfortunately, it's a lot harder to use that Vendetta if you don't have the Zarya to back them up.
Yeah, that's right. Although, you know, she can kind of get in, get out. It's pretty easy to kind of focus her down, especially if you go for a CC hero that can really punish that engage. So, you know, taking that Zarya out, maybe, yeah, just gonna show us a little bit less Vendetta. Hopefully we'll get to see her at some point, but take a look at the compositions that are going to be running out. Looks like we are going to have Squid Up in for Freakiest Racoons, in for Zat, and making an appearance here on the Sigma. It's going to be Wheel taking over the Sojourn as Destiny moves over on to the Tracer. It is a Sombra Bastion coming out here from Frozen Popsicles, so we'll have to see what kind of combos they can get up to with this comp.
Yeah, and we will have to wait and see what those are going to be, because we will get an immediate pause going into this. The main question that immediately gets raised when a player gets swapped out of my mind is, why are we ending up with this swap? I mean, we can see both players, both tanks played the Sigma. It's not like Zat didn't. It's kind of what allowed them to take that first point on Nepal. And so I'm curious to see what we have from Squid Up that is being new to the roster. Maybe we're going to see some Ramatra, or maybe mirroring the Orisa, or maybe going over a bit more divey when stuff gets difficult. There's just a lot of stuff that can come from a tank swap, because there's only one of them on each team. So your tank players got to know a thing or two to be able to keep themselves in the game.
It's a lot of pressure being the only tank, for sure. It's so much impact on a game, right? That's why I love to see the tank bans come out as well, because, you know, if you ban out a DPS, there's so many other DPS, you can just pivot around. But, oh no, Squid Up has been subbed into the game and has immediately thrown up. Nerves, maybe getting the best of him here.
Yeah, Squid Up apparently also threw up, unfortunately, here. Probably didn't do that, but it is funny from them, of course, nonetheless. And I mean, as you said at the end, we do see Sombra come out. So we've got a little bit of Sombra Bastion. Sev, aside from his Soldier when it is banned, known for swapping over to that Sombra. So I'm very curious to see this composition. I don't wish this style onto my worst enemies. Playing into Orisa Bastion, Sombra. I mean, it sounds like a comp straight out of the competitive ladder.
Yeah, it really does, which is terrifying, especially because it's a team that has said that they've had synergy, that they play together in comp, on teams outside of BPL, so definitely have to be a little nervous. I would say the hero synergy, maybe not that strong, just because the Sombra does need a little bit of time to kind of get set up, and if you're frozen Pupcicles, you're gonna be able to kind of find that Sombra out. You have the Tracer that can kind of search out, and even the Sigma is able to kind of find out that Sombra on these angles. So if you're Freakiest Raccoons and you want to play this Sombra, you definitely have to be very careful about it, be very sneaky, because you really want to time these engagements super well. The hack has to come through, the Bastion form has to come through. It's all about the timing here. You really need to use that utility from the Sombra to your advantage.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself, Rain. You can just really tell as we're heading back in, pause, just about to end. There's a chance we might see a swap or two come out from Racoons after this first fight, because if I'm Sev, the only thing I'm looking to do is just be a little rat and then hack Squid up whenever those hands come out, because a single with that hands hacked in front of a Bastion turret, I mean, I don't think that there's enough HP in the game to survive that long before that hack wears out.
That's such a good point, because we were mentioning that the Sigma, nice kind of counter to this Bastion if you cycle through those cooldowns really well. So that is one way to entirely mitigate that counter.
Absolutely. Initial resource trade coming out. It looks like Pupcicles are taking a bit more of that space. But once that Orisa spin has been taken out along with that Fortify, they're able to push back. Squid up, being speared away. We can see right now both sides just throwing resources back and forth as another turret form and bomb comes out. And even though, I was just about to say, even though no one has dropped, but it looks like Destiny has dropped. In fact, Sombra may be catching them out on the side angle as Panglex cleans up Zubert. And it looks like the rest of Racoons are going to be swept under the rug out of the pure poke damage output coming out from this Pupcicles roster. The real question I'm curious about is, are we going to see any swaps now that they know what they're going up against?
Yeah, you have to wonder it, right? So far, it doesn't seem. It seems like Freakiest Raccoons opting to just kind of lock in on this composition, see what they can get done with it. The Sigma not going to be able to kind of win these fights out against the Orisa head-on. This is exactly what we were kind of seeing on Nepal. The Orisa was getting the better of the fights, but starting things out by taking out Otters, maybe Freakiest Raccoons can come into this.
Yeah, amazing pick. Even though this did get traded out with Wheel, it's definitely a much better trade. I'd rather get the Lucio out of the fight than the Sojourn. But it looks like here, as we can go through, window being dropped, pressure hard put into the team, and it looks like Chud a little bit too antsy, even though with that window backing them up, the window can't really help you if you swing out of those sightlines and then get rocked, as the rest of the team look to shortly follow up, even though we did see one pick go back on from the side of Pupcicles. It's not really going to do anything, as thinking will just be slowly peppered down by those pulse pistols as Racoons turn it in their favor.
All right, yeah, 99% for Frozen Pupcicles. They're looking at one more fight win to pick up Market. We do have Destiny lurking, looking for a sneaky pulse bomb. Won't quite be able to find it. Gonna have to have a little bit more patience than that, but this is a big combo that's coming in from Frozen Pupcicles between that Artillery Strike and the Terra Surge. We've seen them use it in combo before. We'll have to see if they're able to kind of find the space, because Freakiest Raccoons playing a very split composition right now.
Yeah, you can see right there, right as the beat was dropping, Squid ends up getting hacked, and the beat is forced out. Panglex taking out Destiny, Technical getting rid of Pop Drop as you're just corralled by Chud straight into the loving arms of that artillery cannon. Wheel taking out Thinking. The fight is still even with trades continuously going back and forth. As the beat, though, from Otters, I think that's going to manage to bring it back around. One last touch by Technical. Will they go down 1 HP? And it looks like right at the end, beat barely taken out. EMP drop just to take it. As you can see the fight, it's just so chaotic. Flux completely whipped as Otters picks up a third in all of that. Was just so much going back and forth, trade after trade, resource and resource, and just barely managed to, right at the end, go in the way of Pupcicles.
All right, Pupcicles locking in. Otters finding all the kills. We are going to head over to Garden for our next sub-map. A very short walk here. Frozen Pupcicles going to be able to get upset first and find the early pick here. It's going to force Freakiest Raccoons into a rotation here. Wheel does have this overclock ready to go, but with Pupcicles getting themselves set up on the point first here, it's going to be so hard to kind of try and find some space to make this overclock work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially with Destiny being forced out of the side angle and taken out before the fight began. It looks like Wheel maybe gonna try to turn things around with the OC. One shot just barely going out of the way, and being Terror Surge in front of a window is just a death sentence. As we can see, both sides have only lost 1 DPS, and Otters has taken the diff personally, taken out Technical, and right now we can see another clean cap from the Pupcicles side as Racoons, they're just barely managing to being taken out in these fights, and it looks like maybe Squid Up is going to try to continue, but swiftly put away by the turret form of Pangalax.
Yeah, Zuberg sent back. We are gonna have a swap here. Destiny moving over onto that Vendetta, but Wheel has been taken out, which is just another stagger kill here on the side of Freakiest Racoons. Frozen Pupcicles just extending their lead for free here on Garden. No ultimates needed. It's all about timing.
Absolutely. One question that I just like reminded myself of is it's very interesting to see Wheel on the Sojourn here and not Destiny. Destiny, the one on the Sojourn the past 2 maps, showed us really good things with their overclocks, and just Technical goes in and just gets eviscerated by the damage output of Bash and manages to take 1 back. Flux comes out. I don't know if anyone was fully grabbed by that. I think just the fortified Orisa, and the picks may be starting to go into the favor of Pupcicles here. Especially, it looks like we're committing even further as the rush goes out. Squid Up 1 HP, but Shut goes down, and Squid so low, barely managing to be taken up. I think maybe that Kitsune Rush gave them just the amount of care they need. Bell coming out, forcing the beat, and I think if you're Pupcicles, you've gotten so much out. I think this is just a signal to retreat, especially with Otters dropping out right at the end. And it looks like, however, they are going to try to fight this out just a little bit longer. A little farewell kill from Pangalax onto Destiny, but looks like they're going to be taken out for that, as Pupcicles will finally be punished here on this comp.
Oh, another 99% on the board, though, for Frozen Pupcicles. And like you said, you got so much out of Freakiest Racoons. They had to commit the beat really late in the fight just to confirm this flip. So now EMP available here for Cough Drop. That ultimate alone is really enough to win this fight. If Freakiest Racoons need to play split here, they need to know that this EMP is coming.
Absolutely, and play a little split they will, as it looks like Technical has been split completely open by that spear from the Orisa. EMP coming out as Zuberg goes down. Terror Surge also swinging into the mix. And Pupcicles, yes, maybe a tiny bit of overinvestment with that Terror Surge, but doesn't really matter when you're already up 3.
Probably not, definitely. We do at least hold on to that amplification matrix from thinking. But yeah, we're looking at a map point here as Frozen Pupcicles moving over to the next flash point. Freakiest Racoons did manage to get a little bit more ult percentage online. Wheel is going to have this overclock once again. Gonna need a little bit of space. We saw last time, tried to use it to try and push into Garden and didn't quite find the value, but you do get yourself kind of positioned around this point now if you're Freakiest Raccoon. So this is a good opportunity to try and take a point in your favor.
Absolutely. Window, I would say maybe a tiny bit too early. We can see the rest of Raccoons not really in any major danger, unlike Technical, who just, I mean, when the Bastion is in turret form, we really got to be watching our corners. It's like trying to cross the street in 4-way traffic. You're just going to get hit if you don't look both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Run over it. It's going to be another commitment here from Frozen Pupcicles. They are in control of the point here, but they know that the ult advantage in Freakiest Raccoon, so they have to react.
Oh yeah, and react they do, taking out Wheel right as they pop that OC. Zuberg dropping as well, and it looks like, are we going to get any more picks coming through? What we will see is the beat coming out. Otters taking out Destiny. Flux also committed, but it's hacked out. We hate to see that if you're Squid Up. And honestly, I'm just... Freakiest Raccoons, they committed so much to no avail. We can check if you see that ult economy. They committed 3 to... what, the beat and the artillery cannon? Our artillery is not really that big of an ultimate, so I don't know. That was really rough.
Yeah, it's tough, especially on Flashpoint. These percentages are taking up so quickly. You need to have clean fights, and Freakiest Raccoons just are not getting those clean fights.
Absolutely not. And another pick taken from Pangalax. You could tell just how dangerous this guy is on it, and not even a touch as they get brought out. And honestly, the biggest question I have on my mind at the end of that is just, I feel like we probably should have swapped Destiny and Wheel's characters. I mean, we saw such good plays from Destiny on the Sojourn, and we saw Wheel wanting to pick that Vendetta earlier. So my question is, how did it kind of end up this way? Why are we doing the swap ups? right on that map 3, especially when, I mean, map 3 is a big, important turnaround in most series.
Yeah, I agree. This is a swing of momentum here, and a 3-0 on Suravasa. I mean, that is as much momentum as you could really build on any one map. So Frozen Popsicles setting themselves at a match point here, and Freakiest Racoons are left maybe scrambling a little bit, maybe a little bit unsure of kind of the comp that they wanted to run, who they wanted to have on that hero. Good news is we are going to give them a little bit of time to get everything sorted out. We're going to throw it to a quick break here, but we're going to be back with map number 4 just after this.
Absolutely. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back from that short 3-minute break, making sure that we give those players a little bit of time to think about their decisions going into map 4, but you also have decisions to make going into these later games with our solemn.gg streams page. We have a ton of amazing community streams going on. Currently, we have 8 whole streams aside from us main broadcast going on, so please, if you are ever curious about wanting to watch the streaming community tied to our wondrous BPL, head over there. That is slmn.gg/streams. You can see so many of our incredible community members throughout all of the games because we're not the only ones streaming this. If you wanted to see a different match go on, maybe you've got a favorite player not on the main stream, go ahead and watch them. We've got a ton of teams that are being streamed, so make sure to head on over there whenever you get a chance.
Really awesome tool to be able to access all of these streams from the Solomon.gg website. So definitely check it out. I am so impressed with how this has all been set up. 9 streams that are live currently. And shout out, of course, to all of the players that are taking the time to stream their matches from their POVs, making sure that we can get as much coverage as possible for this BPL Snowdown Summit.
Absolutely. What an incredible way to kick off the 2026 season of BPL tournaments with this first match of Snowdown. And so, as we are going to head into Gibraltar, I imagine both teams going into this match with some questions. We haven't seen basically any dive from either teams, and I'm a little curious to see what's going on. We saw some swap ups from Racoons going into that map 3, and I don't think I'm fully incorrect saying I don't think they really worked out in the way that they expected. So I'm curious to see what their ideas are going into Gibraltar.
Yeah, this is a pivot. If I've seen, okay, look, I said Saravasa was a pivot from Midtown. This is another really big pivot because, like you said, neither of these teams have really shown us any dive. And if you're going to Watchpoint Gibraltar, you're playing dive. I mean, unless you are pulling out some very cheeky hide in the car wash kind of a strat, I'm expecting to see some Winston. I'm expecting to see some Diva here. And I do think that Freakiest Racoons pulling this map out really gonna throw off the DPS that we've been seeing from the side of Frozen Pupcicles, because we've been seeing kind of like the Bastion. We've been seeing the Soldier, and both of those heroes not gonna get as much value here.
Absolutely. I think this sim ban, well, it might seem a little weird at first. There's a lot of good foresight with this, saying if there's one way that Pupcicles are going to try to force this Bastion Orisa style to really work, the Symmetra is the only way they're going to be able to do it. Those TPs onto the high ground to set space, and it really manages to show that high level of thought as we also get a Diva ban. I think that the Diva also good here. If you are going to force the Bastion anyway, Diva is really the biggest threat. That defense matrix lasts for so long, eats up all the damage output, and so bans, while they might seem a little interesting on this map, I can see exactly where both teams are coming from.
Yeah, you're so right. And I see the Diva ban come out, and it really is just a signal that we don't care. We're going to play Bastion. This is what I'm hearing right now from the side of Frozen Popsicles. So I like this. Definitely very impactful here. I do think that if Freakiest Racoons kind of play their cards right, you play patient, even if you're going up against this Bastion on Gibraltar, even if you're going up in a Orisa Bastion on Gibraltar, really taking control of the high grounds on Gibby will be able to give you that advantage, because if you are playing a composition that doesn't have any vertical movement here, you are automatically going to be on the lower side of Gibby. You really want to be able to kind of control as much of this map as possible, and that includes from the ground all the way to the sky.
Absolutely. It looks like we will have a few swaps on this side. We've got a couple bit of role swaps. I think Sir Technical is going over to tank for this map. It looks like we've got Juno Descent coming in for their side as well. So it looks like we've got a little bit of a change up over on that Racoons. However, on the side of Pupcicles, not a single thing has changed for them. They're pretty confident about their strategies. That map 3 looked pretty incredible from them. And so I don't think they really needed to change much stuff up. The only thing I am curious about is how are they going to make this comp work? I imagine they're just going to hug the payload like it's their best friend they haven't seen in a few years. And Racoons, they're going to need to really rely on Destiny for that Freya output to break through this Orisa Bastion.
Ooh, I like the Freya pick. Now, Freakiest Racoons are on the attack here, so an opportunity to maybe change things up if it's needed. But I think that the long-range damage potential from the Freya is really great, and you have that vertical mobility, so you're still able to get yourself up onto the high ground. Frozen Popsicles locked in on this Orisa Bastion Soldier on the defense. You are going to have Otters over on the Brigitte here. Very interesting. Hook doesn't quite connect. We see Sir Technical trying to just find a connection onto that Bastion. He's going to swap over on to the Winston instead. So it's a game of patience here for Freakiest Racoons. You need to wait out some cooldowns before you go in for those dives.
Absolutely. The biggest advantage Racoons have on this is that no one really can contest Zat on the cart. There's no Tracer, there's no Genji, there's no Sombra. No one that's really just going to be playing on that objective, being able to force them out. And so a lot of this map, I think, is going to come down to how often can Zat force Pupcicles to play on the objective on this defense. And in that meantime, how is the backline of Racoons going to set up one on an anti-nade into that backline whenever the spin is down? And man, I don't know, that seems like a recipe for one dead team. And speaking of that, Anti comes out, but Super drops as well, and it looks like while thinking his drop low, Otters swings over like a hero, saving their teammate. And Pupcicles, while it looked a little bad there when that anti-nade came through, they turn it around with some good picks.
I'm genuinely not sure how Thinking managed to live through that. The lamp just in time to keep the Baptiste alive, and now Frozen Pupcicles get themselves set up on this high ground once again. So it's going to be pressure on Zat on this Tracer to try and put some cart progress in so that there's some space for Freakiest Racoons to take this high ground.
Absolutely, and the bullet shot had come out so fast. Another 2 bolts flying into the side of Thinking, dropping them low. And with Soldier down, the whole team is going to have to back up, give some space. They had to commit so many resources, and they're so close to stuff like that window, which immediately swings out in technical. Ooh, barely jumps out with Winston there. You can see if that jump was half a second later, that Terraform shreds through the behind of that Winston.
Really great disengage there from Freakiest Racoons, and now we see some cooldowns have been used. It's an opportunity for Racoons to try and push in here. You really want to have Zuberg try and find an opening with an anti-nade, but it is going to be a DC coming through, unfortunately. Sir Technical, the tank for the side of Frozen Raccoon, Freaky Raccoons. I'm getting the names mixed up. Freaky Raccoons has DC'd, so that is really, really unfortunate for them. Not having your tank in the picture basically is just going to be a fight loss, even once he reconnects to the lobby.
Yeah, that is going to be really rough. You could see the Primal just online, and unfortunately, I don't think I saw the patch note or when Winston props Primal, he DCs from the game. I think that's a different type of rage, actually. So I'm curious to see what they'll do. They were set up. They were just about to go in. That's probably the worst possible time for you to disconnect right as the engage is happening. The team literally went in, and as the prod has been saying, unfortunately, being named technical does not mean you are free from those issues.
Alas. All right. Well, we do at least have Sir Technical back in.
On top of them. Winston jump scare.
Oh! A literal Winston jump scare. Now, you do have this Primal coming online, so Freakiest Raccoon's actually not in a terrible position here, but you do have a rally from Otters that is going to be able to sustain through a lot of this. We can see that just trying to take control of this high ground for now.
Absolutely. Oh, the Bastion ult comes through. Zuber drops low. Otters forced to pop the rally as Anti hits and the HP drops low. You can see the Sir Technical hasn't been able to build up that Primal Rage minor perk yet, and so Primal just doesn't deal that much damage if you don't have that perk up. But it looks like they're going to still try to commit bullet shot coming in from Destiny, forcing the lamp and the break packs. So Technical just barely doesn't get out as the pulse bomb also comes out from Zat. And Pupcicles, they've managed to completely control this first point. Every single time it looks like something is going to go wrong. An anti-nade hit, a low HP target. They always manage to pull it back because their comp is just so durable.
Yeah, right? And I am seeing why Freakiest Raccoons banned out the Baptiste on map number 1. Thinking has impressed me so much, not just with the ability to stay alive, but the timing of these lamps, absolutely impressive stuff. Now, we do have Frozen Pupcicles trying to hold this high ground. You do have the Terra Surge to work with, but the dive from Freakiest Raccoons has a nano to go with it.
Yeah, and an amazing whip shot here from Otters going in, and you can see as the picks go through, Sir Technical manages to get Otters with that nano. Sleep also comes in, Thinking taken down, but Juno Destin also going at the same time, and it looks like the picks, even though there was so much in the thing of Racoons, once again as the fight ends, just another recipe for disaster as Pupcicles cleans up yet another fight, and they have artillery and window going into this. I don't even know if anyone's going to be able to get to touch. Technical not getting the jump just barely, but he gets blown up on impact.
Yeah, that's it. No second touch. That's it. Frozen Pupcicles have a full hold on Gibraltar. This is going to be a very, very tough feat here for Freakiest Racoons, trying to stay alive in this series. they're gonna have a massive hold on this first point of Gibraltar, and up against this comp from Frozen Popsicles that maybe they're not gonna look to initially take the high ground, but you could just force your way onto the cart with this Orisa Bastion, and Freakiest Racoons are gonna have to react eventually.
Absolutely. It's really great to see how much this coordination and trust comes through from Pupcicles. Not only, as you said before, Rain, these are players that have been playing before on a bunch of different teams. Most people in the BPL community are very aware of the duo that is Otters and Pangalex, whether it be on various BPL teams during the summer or the winter, whatever it is, these two love to play with each other. And I want to say, you mentioned it before, Thinking has done a great job on the Baptiste, and it's very impressive as Otters, known to be the flex support player, normally known for the Baptiste, for the Kiriko, and so clearly a lot of trust in putting Thinking on that character that Otters normally the person known to play.
Ooh, that is a lot of trust, right? And Otters has been doing a great job on the Brigida as well. Maybe you don't get to show up in the kill feed as much, but we've seen some excellent whip shots come through. So yeah, definitely seeing a lot of synergy in this backline, despite not always getting to see a Baptiste paired with a Brigida. But it is going to be just that on the attack as well. No changes here from Frozen Popsicles. We are going to have Sir Technical over on the Sigma here, and Zat over on the Ashe. So really looking to kind of capitalize on some poke damage coming through, but yeah, Frozen Popsicles just full steam ahead.
That's absolutely how you capitalize on something there. You just see Chud one spear into the head of Zat as they fall. And I mean, there's been a lot of swaps going out. There's been a lot of characters chosen, but it looks like maybe just the tried and true one composition approach from Pupcicles, maybe that's all you need. You know, they don't have that flexibility that Racoons really talked about with the role swaps and the character compositional changes, but it's really working out for him. What can I say?
Is anybody going to be able to touch? It's a half-hearted attempt here, but all the cooldowns have been spent. Freakiest Racoons not able to withstand the attack, and that is Frozen Popsicles picking up Gibraltar and picking up the series.
Yeah, just incredible from Pupcicles. That map 1, you could really tell they were maybe just a little bit off. They maybe a little bit of nerves as they let that first round slip away. The rest of the rounds weren't super clean either, so they kept letting stuff barely go down. But as the series progressed, they got a lot more confident. A full minute, full cap on Midtown, a 3-0 sweep of Suravasa, and a very dominant Gibraltar here. You can really tell Pupcicles, they probably have what it takes. And at least today they showed that they dominated Racoons.
A fantastic start to the Snowdown season here for Frozen Popsicles. I think that we'll definitely be seeing more of this Orisa Bastion soldier composition from them because they have proven that you can even play it on Watchpoint Gibraltar. The map WoW was like, oh yeah, we definitely need to see some dive from these two teams. No, Frozen Popsicle says we absolutely do not need to see dive from these two teams. So if you stick to your guns and you have a comp that you're comfortable with, you can definitely find the win.
Absolutely there. Once again, incredible, fantastic job from Frozen Popsicles. They had a plan, they stuck with it, they did it really well. And if you're on the side of Freakiest Racoons, I feel like this is a good match to kind of go over, really see what went wrong. I think the biggest question marks I had were, why did we ended up having that swap of DPS on the different characters on the Suravasa? We've had 3 different players go in on tank to fundamentally play the same thing. I feel like this team is really just experimenting still. Maybe they haven't found that foothold. As we said, they haven't gotten that synergisticness that the other team has had from playing in so many turns together. So I would say going into your next match, maybe let's take a little bit more time. Let's figure out who is doing what. But they still showed a lot of signs of life.
Yeah, I agree. Coming up against this team as strong as Frozen Popsicles, at least Freakiest Racoons did get their 1 map win. And of course, this is just the start of the Swiss stage. So we're still going to have lots more opportunities for both of these teams to kind of test their mettle against other teams that play lots of different compositions here. Because sometimes it can just be that one comp that is just your Achilles heel catching you off guard. Freakiest Racoons maybe not expecting that they were going to be playing against a Bastion all evening long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even on the map where the Bastion was taken out, they played something else. It's clearly not a full one-trick pony style of team, but At the end of the day, it has been a fantastic stream alongside such an incredible co-caster of Rain, and of course our incredible staff as well, making this all happen. So one last time, if you want to watch any of the streams that have gone on, please go down to that solomon.gg/streams. Check out all the amazing people throughout the BPL community. And unless there's anything else, I feel like this is kind of where we'll be saying farewell for the night.
This is it. It's been a great series. Make sure you check out those streams because there could be still some that are ongoing. I am Rain, joined by Greetings. Behind the scenes, we had Knock on Wood, our producer. Our wonderful OBS was Jimmy B, Person, and Thor. So thank you so much to our prod crew. Thank you so much to the players for putting on such a great match. Have a fantastic evening, and we will see you next week.
Farewell.